Hello, friends. Welcome to DNF Diaries. Every other week, we bring you a wonderfully entertaining, low-stakes, absolutely no-shame story of a DNF in the ultramarathon, sub-ultra, FKT, or thru-hike world. For those that are not familiar, DNF stands for Do Not Fib. Just kidding. It actually means did not finish. We are accepting stories through our email, dnfconfessions@gmail.com. You can also slide into our DMs on Instagram at dnf.diaries. Please send us your stories about DNFing or quitting in an endurance effort. If you'd like to be kept anonymous, we can make that happen. And without further ado, I'm Arlee Hiskey, and
I'm Tara Dower.
And we are going to give you some ultra news today, tell some quick stories, and then talk about a race that didn't get finished.
Yeah, a race that didn't get finished. That's right. This is going to be the Western States DNF story. I figured it's fresh.
We're coming back from our big hiatus, our big vacay that we took for Western States and all the things that happened at the Palisades Tahoe Resort in 2 weeks. That's craziness. Broken Arrow, TrailCon, Western, all the things. We're coming back. We're here. Tara's going to tell her story.
Yay.
We're going to shout out to Ultra for sponsoring us, both the podcast and Tara and her crew at Western. Let's jump into some news. I got some news here. And, most of it's about Western, and then just some highlights, because we've all seen it on social media. We've all heard about it, but just, a couple things just in case. And then there's a couple other things in this news blurb. Abby Hall won the women's race. It was an incredible run by everybody in the field. And
incredible.
She's just an absolute freaking stunner. I'm a huge fan. Yeah. It was incredible to watch her run that race and kind of have her big shining moment. Yeah.
She is so inspiring. Her story. I mean, what happened, her injury, like the recovery and winning Western States. I mean, you can't help but cheer for a story like that. It's incredible. She's incredible.
It's incredible.
She's worked so hard. There should be a movie about it.
I hope there is. There's no way they weren't making one.
Yeah,
they need something's going to come out. Also, Adidas Terex swept the women's podium. They had 3, if not 4 athletes in the top 10.
Yeah,
They definitely had 3. Abby, Hannah Allgood, and Emily Hawgood, and there might have been a 4th. I'm not sure.
And Caitlin Fielder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Incredible. And then Caleb Olson won the men's race. Incredible. He did a great race by him.
Everyone slept on him.
They did. He wasn't in anyone's predictions.
He won. He also has a new baby, which was really cute. He held his baby at the finish line, which was adorable. So it was even though I DNF'd, we'll get into it. It was so fun to relive the race after I was finished and watch Caleb and Abby win.
Oh, good. That's great to hear. And he did it all in that spiffy new Nike top. With those sleek cutouts.
Yeah, crocheted
gliding through the air faster, probably.
Yeah. I want to feel that material. It's like a
I'd love to know
net.
what it feels like. Yeah, it is. It's like a doily. I think my grandmother had some at her house. Anyways, there was plenty of attrition in both of the elite fields. A ton of runners dropped on all sides, which is, kind of par for the course as far as Western goes, I think. And, something that we really noticed as a crew, which was so interesting. And once we started to notice it, it was just ever more present at every aid station we were at. So that it really felt like there were 3 races going on. There was the men's elite race and the women's elite race, and then everyone else. And there was a really substantial gap at aid stations between the elite fields and then the rest of the regular runners.
Interesting.
And I think that's just highlighted even more in that Abby Hall was 11th overall. It was the men's top 10 and then the first woman.
Wow.
And it was just so interesting. All the elites would come through at these aids and then we'd be there's no one. coming through, or there's like one like, amateur male, or like here's like the 15th place male runner, and then like a like slow trickle. It was just really interesting to see that kind of like, it's such a separation of the elites and then like the regular runners.
Yeah.
In the field. Next ultra news from Western was maybe one of the hottest takes I've ever heard from Jim Walmsley. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, Tara. He said on the Single Track Pod with Finn that elites should not have pacers. What do you, as an elite, what do you think about that?
I don't agree with that at all. If pacers are available, or if you can, or if you're allowed to have pacers, why not just use them? I don't really, I guess I should listen to the reasons why. But I don't know. I think it's fine to have a pacer. If anything, it's for safety. Like if I didn't have Robin pacing me for that section of Western States where I DNF'd, like it would be very unsafe for anything. I mean, if it's just for safety, I think pacers should be allowed. So I don't know if I agree with that.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
I also don't agree. I think pacers kind of like help push the pace on a race. Like they're fresh, they're new, they're there to like hold you to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it would be like totally different game if there were no pacers.
Yeah. And
I think it would be totally different.
You can choose not to have a pacer. Like,
sure. Yeah.
It's a very interesting take. I got to go back and listen to that old Jimbo.
Yeah. 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 I wanted to mention, so David Roche also DNF'd at Western States this year. And the new episode of the Some Work All Play, the Swap podcast so last week, offers a really great recap of his race. And he has some really incredible reflections on his DNF and the reasons behind it. I listened to it last week while I was running around, and I just found it to be like a really wonderful episode of the Swap podcast. Megan always asks really insightful questions of David on that platform. And it was a really great listen. I want to highlight it and recommend it to everyone. Yeah. And then the last Western States news, I read this in the Ultra Minute, which is where all of our Ultra news is coming from this week. So yeah, shout out to Ken Seals for creating that incredible newsletter. But I found this to be so wonderful. I wanted to share it with everybody. So there's a new award at Western. I think this was the inaugural year of it. And somebody named Niraj Egbert, and excuse me if I'm mispronouncing that name, was awarded the first ever golden hour ticket. And that is an entry into the next year's Western States for the first finisher who crosses the line after the 30-hour cutoff. Oh
my gosh.
Yeah. To give that like a second chance race.
Way. I didn't know that.
Isn't that incredible?
I absolutely love that.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I love that so much.
It's incredible.
Yeah. What a great policy.
Yeah.
Whoever came up with that, give them a raise immediately.
Totally. And so Niraj was, seconds or minutes, I think maybe 2 minutes after the cutoff.
No.
And they got this first entry, this first ever golden hour ticket into next year's race. That's just a wonderful thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Western, for being a stand-up raise. That's great.
So moving on from Western, here's the rest of our Ultra news. We've got a couple more bullets. We're going to talk about Lavaredo here.
Yeah.
Courtney won. Crushed it, per usual, obviously. In the women's race, she won. Ben Demon broke the course record on the men's side. Great work, Ben. Tony McCann set a new course record in the women's 50K. Love to see it.
Nice.
And Caleb Olson, when he was asked by Megan Hicks of I Run Far if he's going to run Western next year, he said probably not, and hinted at doing Lavaredo instead.
Wow. Interesting.
So stay on the edge of your seats, folks, for the next calendar year.
Arlee, I know we still have more news, but like you've done such a great job at this. I have not been in the ultra world, and these updates are blowing my mind.
This is all Ken Seals.
Thanks, Ken.
Subscribe on Substack and Instagram to the Ultra Minute. It's great. It's my favorite news. Our final bullet is John Kelly DNFing his FKT attempt in the whites. It seems as though he succumbed to injury and perhaps some exhaustion as well.
Yeah.
Which maybe played into his injury.
Yeah.
We can kind of talk more about this if you want, but I wanted to highlight that his fundraiser for Hurricane Helene relief efforts is still active. If you'd like to donate, please do so. Yeah.
Yeah. I found out as I was leaving Forest Hill that he was maybe not continuing. Robin told me, gave me an update. And obviously I'm bummed big time, because that is to get that far in 5 weeks and to be on that record pace that entire time. I mean, what he did was really, it was incredible. And the whites are no joke. And then Maine, Southern Maine, no joke. But I texted John a little bit. We were like commiserating together, and he sounds like he's in a good headspace. He's spending time with his family.
Good.
But yeah, it's a bummer for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Terry, you got any stories about running recently that you want to share with our listeners?
Do I have any stories? Oh, I went on a fast packing adventure for a day and a half.
How was that?
It was great. I needed to get out. I needed to get away from service. I needed to be in the woods. I needed to be among the mountains and just like go back to the basics. And me and Robin and her partner, Teddy, we did 43-ish miles in 28 hours. We slept under the stars and we skinny dipped in 5 lakes, and it was just really nice to spend time in the outdoors.
Yeah, that's a lovely story.
Thanks. What's your run story?
Oh my gosh, it's less wholesome. So on Saturday I donated blood because I wanted to save 3 lives, and the Red Cross is now calling me a hero for babies. It's true. When I log into my Red Cross app on my iPhone, it says, "Hello, Arlee, hero for babies."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's becoming my whole personality. Anyways, I gave blood on Saturday at like noon, and then Sunday morning I had to run a workout, and I felt so bad. At halfway through, I got in the lake. I like wasn't even running fast. I found out later. It was like I felt like I was really trying, and it was like not a fast pace on like the bike path. And we got to halfway, and I was like, guys, I got to get in the lake. I'm too hot. I got to get in. I like went down some rocks and just like went into the water, fully submerged in my entire outfit. And then I got home and I was like, I felt so bad. And Cleo was like, "You look really pale." And I was like, "I feel pale." And I laid down for hours watching TV. And then I was talking to my coach, Kelsey, today about it. And she was like, "Yeah, sometimes giving blood, like it like affects people for like weeks." And I was like, "Oh, I thought it was like a couple hours kind of deal." I was like, it's really validating. Like, it goes right back through the roof.
Yeah, I mean, what do they take? Like a pint of blood? I don't even know the normal amount of blood they take.
No, you should donate blood. You could also be a hero for babies.
I want to be a hero for babies.
Yeah, especially if you have O negative, there's actually like a shortage happening. I get a lot of emails about it. So,
do you have O negative?
I do.
I don't know.
I found out when I gave blood.
I probably have some A or something, A, B, whatever.
Yeah, but it can really impact you. So Kelsey, she was like, she coaches like a high school cross country team, and she was like, yeah, we tell them not to give blood during the whole season. And I was like, oh shit.
So note for listeners, don't give blood and try to do a training
if you've got because
you have
take a rest day.
You might be lighter, but you're a pint of blood less
you
than
need
you
that.
would be otherwise. Yeah.
Thank God I wasn't at altitude.
You might have fainted.
I would have. Jeez.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh.
Are we ready to get into the freaking meat?
Yeah. Dude, are you ready to tell us about some meat?
Yeah. Yeah.
You got some steak for us tonight?
I've got a good
You got ground beef?
Loin, a tenderloin.
Oh, tenderloin. Oh.
Yeah. Because my loins were tender.
Yeah, you want to tell us about your tenderloins?
Yeah, I had so many of so many tenderloins.
Where should we start? So should we start at the Airbnb?
Yeah.
Or should we start? Yeah. All right. So once upon a time, everybody was in an Airbnb in Olympic Valley.
Alpine Meadows.
It was Alpine Meadows, great road.
Mm-hmm.
We were all there.
Everybody, whole crew.
Tara was doing a lot of coughing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let you take it away from here.
Yeah. About a week and a half before the race, I felt sick. I felt the itch in my throat. And I was like, I knew like either I was getting sick or it was allergies. And I think I was in denial because I just didn't want to believe that my Western States race, I was about to be sick beforehand. And it was a week and a half before, and people are like, oh, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. And when Sunday came, I just felt like so much worse. It was just like a lot of coughing, a lot of sneezing, a lot of sinus pressure, a lot of mucus. Oh my gosh, Arlee, it was terrible. And the whole time, like I'm there before, I am at the tip top shape. I'm feeling so good. I'm ready to race. I'm ready to be competitive on the biggest stage. And Sunday is just like, I'm so sick. I think I go to the urgent care on Monday and she's like, I took tests. I don't have COVID. I don't have flu and I don't have pneumonia in my lungs. So we're good there. But she's like, just try to get better before the race. As I'm telling this story, I'm getting like hyped up. And I don't know. I mean, it's got funny sections, but honestly, it's like, it's so fresh and I'm like still so bummed about it. It's just like such bad luck to get sick before a race. And
you were like very sick.
Yeah. What did you see?
I got there Wednesday night, so I didn't see you until Thursday morning. I saw like a lot of like the lung coughing. Like you can hear it where it's coming from, kind of, you know? And I saw a lot of like, I feel like I didn't see this, but like hearing about it of like you trying to run and it like not going well.
Yeah. I would go on these like 3-4 mile runs just to test it out and like throw up because I was coughing so hard. And it was like so disheartening. I was still keeping up a pretty good pace, but I was just not doing okay. Like I knew like this is not going to be a good race. And everyone's telling me, they're like, you'll be fine. You'll be okay. Like you still have so much time. You can get better before then. But like during this entire time, I kept the Lake Tahoe City CVS afloat for the week of Western States because I spent $300 on medication, humidifiers. I got a neti pot. I went and got an inhaler from the urgent care. They gave me a prescription. I got like some medication to help with the coughing. I spent $300 at that CVS, and I better get a thank you letter in the mail because I think I single-handedly kept that CVS afloat during that week. But man, I was just there every day, just trying anything. I sent out a post on Instagram and like people are giving me their suggestions and I was doing anything and everything. So I would wake up in the morning and have this routine. I had this like boiling pot of water and I'd put this like shower.
Wait, can I walk everyone through this?
Oh, yeah.
Of what it looks like from the viewer's perspective. Tara wakes up in the morning. She comes upstairs. She boils water and pours it into like a soup pot. So she's got this like large pot of steaming hot water, which she then puts like, I don't know, like half or a quarter tab or whatever of like a Vicks VapoRub shower steamer tablet into. And then she has this white bath towel. So she then like goes bobbing for apples and like puts her head like into the steam and then covers it with a towel. So she, you know, for maximum absorption of Vicks VapoRub effervescence, or whatever it is, steam into the body. She's trapped underneath this towel. We've got like a Casper the Ghost situation, but like Casper the sick ghost. And then you start hearing, and then she like comes up for air and like lifts the towel off and then puts it over the pot to keep the heat in it. Her face is like bright red from being like steamed off. She takes a breather and then like goes back in for more. And she's sitting at the head of this long kitchen table. So it's like our queen is at the head of the table just steaming her face with
big
Vicks
old
VapoRub shower tabs. Yeah. Got our lobster pot back here. Effervescence. It's so intense.
Twice a day.
Twice in minimum.
Oh, neti pot. I would put that squeeze bottle right up my nose, squirt out, and just like yellow would just come running out of my nose. And it felt so satisfying because I had so much sinus pressure. On Tuesday, I had like a terrible sinus headache. And like it just relieved so much of that freaking pressure, dude. Oh yeah, so I did the neti pot. I did the steamer. I took baths with those shower steamers. I had so many different medications. I was a regular on the WADA site because I wanted to make sure all of the medications I was taking was WADA approved. And they were Mucinex. You can take Mucinex DM, by the way, for people that are wondering. I was wondering that, and I didn't take it for the longest time. And then I realized like 2 days before the race that you can. Anyways, I also lost my appetite, and I found out after I'd weighed myself when I got home, I lost 8 pounds in the week and a half. So like week and a half before Western States. So like the race and, being sick, I lost 8 pounds. And
that's so significant.
That is so much weight. I don't really have anything to lose too. It's just like, I don't know where it went. But I was not eating well, and I also kind of got severely dehydrated at the race, but we'll get into that a little later. Anyways, I'm super sick. I'm trying everything I can. My coach Megan comes through with her doctor friend and has an inhaler called Air Supra. And Air Supra just got approved. I think it just got approved medication-wise. And I would take that Air Supra. I got it the day before the race, the pre-race briefing, and I took it before going to an interview with the feed, and I was walking through the village and I was like floating on a cloud. I think there's some sort of like illicit I don't think there's actually an illicit drug, but it could be. I was like, how did I get here? Like I take this Air Supra and I just like appear at this interview, and the entire time, this interview, by the way, was so strange. The feed interview I did, I didn't know they were recording. These guys were like personalities. They were an entire personality. I think the feed hired them. And I don't know if they're going to post the footage, but like I actually didn't know when the interview started and when it ended. They just like started talking to me as soon as I sat down. And some of their questions went a little bit like this. And by the way, I'm all Air Supra'd out. I'm like on a cloud somewhere. And they asked, so how does astrology, what role does astrology play in your race plan? What are you talking about? What else did they ask me? So many strange questions. And at one point, my friend Reese starts talking because they were talking to me and Reese. She wasn't in the interview. She's just in the room. At one point, Reese starts talking and they're like, shh, we're doing an interview. We're like, when did you start the interview? I don't know when you started it. Anyways, that's all besides the point. I go to the pre-race meeting, and then the night before the race, I'm just, I'm preparing for the fact that this is going to be extremely hard. I can't stop coughing. I feel terrible. I throw up when I cough, which is not good for a 100-mile race. And I just have to accept the fact that this is going to be a really difficult race. I probably won't do as good as I want to, but my motivation was the Michael Jordan flu game or hungover game or food poisoning game, whatever it was. People tell me all different types of versions of that story. But apparently Michael Jordan had the flu during a game and he sunk a bunch of buckets. I don't know. And that inspired me. And so I watched a video of him, an inspirational video about it, several times before the race. So Arlee, at this point in my journey, you are at the house, you're watching all of this go down. What is it going through your brain during this time?
I was so worried about you. Oh my gosh. I'm a worrier in general. And I so fully believe in how strong and incredible you are and how capable you are. And I was so worried about you because it just seemed like you were still really sick. And you kept being like, guys, this is going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard. And I was like, yeah, it's going to be really hard. And you're really good at doing hard stuff. And you were like, yeah, I am good at doing hard stuff. You're right.
It's funny, the things that would encourage me. Some people would say things and some of it would encourage me. And then other times it would just be like, oh no, this is going to be so hard. It's going to stick so bad. So we get to the race and it's the morning of. I wake up, I feel almost worse. I can't eat. I feel like I'm going to throw up. The bicarb, it's so gross. I can't even, I just imagine it. I see the bicarb and it looks like the mucus that has been coming out of my nose for the past week. And I'm like, hell no, I can't eat all of this. And so I eat half of it and eat somewhat of a bagel. And I'm just trying to do my pre-race shenanigans, doing the lobster pot. I'm doing the neti pot. I'm doing everything I can to feel somewhat well for this race. I get to the start of the race, take my Air Supra. I'm on a cloud. I'm somewhere on a cloud. My nose starts bleeding right before the start of the race. Rascal's like, oh yeah, by the way, Rascal's there. There's so many people here, all of my loved ones. Let me say this real quick. I am so thankful for everyone that came out and supported me. I wish that it was a different result because I was there for you guys. I was doing the race for you guys. I was thinking about the entire time, I was thinking of getting to Roby Point and running with you guys to the end. And that was my motivation the entire race. And I'm so thankful for the entire crew. I had Arlee there, Rascal, Reese, Abigail, Maggie, Robin, KP, LP, Mark, Emily, and Anna. Is that everybody? I think that's everybody.
I think so.
But
JP.
Yeah. JP came off the trail. I'm just so thankful for everyone. It's all the best people that I could have in my corner. And so that's all I was thinking about. I just wanted to make you guys proud. And I was so thankful to have you guys there. So anyways, Rascal sees my nose is bleeding right at the start. She's like, oh, let me just get that for you. Just nicks the blood right off my nose. And it's just continuing to bleed. I'm in this room. I'm feeling jittery because I got the Air Supra in my lungs. the race starts. I'm going up the escarpment and it actually feels okay. I see Fu Zhao and I'm like, I'm going to stick sort of close to Fu Zhao. And I stick with her about halfway up. I think she gets ahead at that point, but I still am around a lot of the other elite women, and that feels like a good spot to be. And at this point, I'm like, I think like I can salvage something from this. I was hoping that maybe I could still be top 10 and come back next year. So I still had a lot of hope. And so I get up and over the escarpment. By the way, the escarpment was full of people. There's so many people there. It was so hype and so fun. I couldn't wipe the smile off my face. I got up and over the escarpment and I was running down, started coughing as I do, didn't throw up, but shortly, I think it was the medication, but I needed to use the bathroom. So I quickly used the bathroom. I was running kind of behind Keely and Caitlin Fielder, Erin Clark, and Fiona Pascal. And they were all encouraging and so nice. And they're like, oh, I hear you're coughing. Sorry you feel so terrible. I'm like, yeah, the first 10 miles is just like getting the flu out, and then I'll start racing. Still holding out hope. I'm running with Keely a little bit, maybe an hour later, and she's like, hey, like, how's it going? And I tell her how I'm feeling. She's like, well, you're in a really good spot. Everyone's going out way too fast, so just stick here. And I love the camaraderie. I love the friendship between these women. I love that they're so supportive. I'm with Keely a little bit, and then I see Riley ahead, and I know this isn't good because Riley is like supposed to be up there at the top, at the front and running really, really fast as Riley does. And I saw them and I asked them how they were doing, and they said they couldn't stop throwing up. I was like, okay, do you need anything? Do you need any help? Any medication? They said no. And so I continued on. And then maybe like 2 minutes later, I just throw up all of the liquid that I had accumulated in my stomach from
and
coughing.
What mile marker do you think that is?
It was after the first aid station. Oh man, maybe 12 miles. I threw up all of the liquid because I was coughing so hard. And Riley ran past at that point, and it's just like so sweet. But Riley stops. Well, actually, Riley runs past me and then runs back, actually. And was like, hey, Tara, do you need anything? If you need anything, just let me know. I'm like, I love this sport so much.
So sweet.
Yeah. And I was like, no, keep going. So me and Riley kind of like bounce back and forth, and I'm feeling like crap. Like, it's hard for me to explain. I'm actually posting a vlog here where I'm telling the entire story to YouTubers or my YouTube crowd, as I fast packed. And I don't have a great way to explain things, but Robin was with me when I was trying to explain how I was feeling. And I was like, oh yeah, I feel like crap. And she's like, I think that's kind of an understatement. And I'll kind of get into like the full effects of everything. But when I say I feel like crap, it was pretty rough. I was running really fast with a cold and just did not feel good at all.
Yeah.
Let's fast forward a little bit. I get to the first aid station. Crew, I told them before, I was like, this is going to be a hard race. It's not going to be a fast race for me. We're just going to have to like limp it in almost. So they pack my bag with more liquid and more gels and send me on my way. I'm on my way to Robinson, and I'm drinking really well. I'm like, okay, I'm going to use this as an opportunity. This race, I might not do the best that I want to do, but I'm going to use it as an opportunity. I'm going to be running on the course. I'm going to try to run some splits that I want to run. I'm going to check out the course. I'm going to see the entire course. I am going to just like see the aid stations and just have a good idea of what the course is like for a hopeful next try at Western States. And I'm doing really well. And then I throw up again. I cough so hard, I throw up again, and I actually lose my heart-shaped pit vipers at this point. My transition pit vipers.
They're so cool. It's really such a bummer you lost them.
I was coughing so hard. And this guy came up to me when I was in the middle of throwing up. It was like, oh my gosh, Tara. And so we ran together a little bit, but I couldn't keep up. It was starting to get hot, but I want to say my heat training was actually pretty good. I felt like I never got like overheated. I felt really good. But it was getting hot and I didn't have any water. So ultimately I was dehydrated because I threw up all my liquid. Got to Robinson and I'm like, give me water now. So Arlee, when I get to Robinson, what do you see? What is your, because that is the first aid station that crew 1 sees me at.
And so I'm assuming crew 2 got the same text from me, but I don't know. So crew 2, we had gotten a message from you that was like, I don't know, you might have said like, you know, having a hard time or something, but you were like, but sticking with Riley and like, we're getting through it together. And we were like, what? Like Riley's so fast. Like if Tara's sticking with Riley, like the two of them, they're doing great. And then I guess we had learned or pieced together that like Riley was struggling as well. And we were like, oh, okay. But then you came in like you had gained on them quite a bit by the time you got to Robinson, which was impressive. But anyways, you come to Robinson and you like stopped running before you got all the way to us, which is like strange and different, is atypical for you. And so we were kind of like, oh, like, ugh. And then like, it just became pretty evident. Like you were like, you know, feeling, I don't want to like put words in your mouth. So if this doesn't feel appropriate, you know, let me know, but that you were feeling like pretty weak and like not like fully strong or like,
no, that's accurate.
Yeah. Okay, great. Cause that's what it seemed like. Like,
it was like, only 30 miles in.
Dehydrated. Like you didn't seem hot. I mean, you were like taking ice and stuff, but you weren't like, oh my God, I'm so hot, you know? But it just seemed like, and then like somebody offered when it was, you know, you were kind of taking a little bit longer, somebody offered us a chair and you were like, yes, I'll sit down, which is like super strange and like was totally not your plan. Like, you know, and you like sat there for a little while and we're just like, oh my God, like this is really hard. And we were like, yeah, this is really hard. And like, I was worried about like crew violations as well, because there was at Robinson, there's like a rope that the crew is supposed to stay behind, but some of our crew was in front of the rope. And so I was kind of like not saying anything because it didn't really seem like it was that big of a deal. But like, as the warrior that I am, I was like, oh my God, like, I hope that like, this is okay, you know? And it was like, nobody said anything to us. I don't think anything was ever like mentioned and it was like, fine. But I was like worried about that as well. And just like, you were like, seemed to be really having a hard time, but then like you got up, went on, and Emily, you know, one of the camera girls or media girls that was filming you, like went along with you. And then when she got back to us, she was like, yeah, Tara like seemed way better. Like when we were going off, like she was talking, her like mood was better, like the inhaler hit, you know, things were on the up and up. And that was like really relieving to hear that, because like when you left the aid from us, it was like, okay, she's like, you know, having a hard time. Like a really hard time. Yeah.
It was definitely the pickle juice, a combination of pickle juice and Air Supra. Yeah, I took that Air Supra again, was on a cloud, was floating. At that point, like I kind of was losing my hearing a little bit after Robinson, which was so weird. I was running with Sarah O's sister, Melissa, and we were having a great conversation. I was just like, I'm going to stick with her and we're going to just like, I'm going to chill. I'm going to relax. Just try to finish this race. We're going to check out the course. But I was trying so hard to hold on as far as like keeping my wits about me, because it's like, had a little bit of a headache, and then like I was losing my hearing. I don't know if it was the altitude change or whatever. But it was very strange. So, in this next like 20 miles, it was really rough. So I get to a lot of aid stations. I kind of, do what I need to do. I get my ice, I get my liquids. The crew tries to shoo me on. And, whatever volunteers are there tries to shoo me on. And, people see me and they're like, oh, Michael Jordan flu game. And they're trying to encourage me. So I'm so thankful for the volunteers. Like, they're like, we're going to get you to the finish, Terry. You're going to do this. It was just very heartwarming. Going down to Devil's Thumb, though I wasn't hot, I don't know if my body, if it was a medication or if my body was just like experiencing the heat without me like feeling hot. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I don't know what happened. I don't know why this happened, but I needed to poop. And I got off the trail because I was like, this is a major one. This isn't just a quick stop. So I got off the trail and, did what I need to do. And look at it. It has blood. There's blood in my poop.
Not good. That is a red flag that you should tell people immediately about.
So what I did is I said, I'm not going to tell anyone about this. I'm going to finish this race.
And that's a bad choice.
Because Arlee, do you want to talk about the meeting that Rascal, Reese, and Maggie had with that doctor?
Yes, I was not part of that meeting, but I was eavesdropping on it from afar. Because there was enough people talking, I didn't need to be part of that. Anyways, and I did hear about it from Reese and Maggie and Rascal. They would talk to this doctor who's like a friend of Maggie's or whatever, and about like, hey, like what are some like things that we should like look for or be concerned about, like red flags or signs that like permanent long-term damage to Tara's lungs and body, things of that sort. And the doctor was kind of like, like if blood is coming out of her body and it's not from like a scrape, then like that's generally bad. So like, coughing blood, pooping blood, peeing blood, those kinds of orifices with blood coming out. That's, it's definitely a bad thing. We don't want that. And she kind of was just like, like she's sick and she's going to be sick and it's going to take some time to recover. And it's going to take likely longer to recover from this type of effort because she is sick. But like she will. And like ultimately, like the body will stop if it needs to or when it needs to. Like when things are bad, the body will stop. Yeah.
Good advice. So
great advice from a medical professional.
I continue on up Devil's Thumb. As Rascal says, my butt was coughing along with my mouth the entire time, and I'm still pooping blood all the way up. I mean, I'm at this point I have like a lot of gastro stuff going on, so every couple minutes I'm having to like keel over for a minute or two, and eventually it becomes clear, so that's good. I would say the frequency was a little alarming, but there was no more blood, so that was great. Right. So I'm continuing on. I get down to El Diablo aid station, and I get there, and it's just like, I have to sit down. Like I can't hear. I've been pooping blood. I just feel horrible. And again, there's a lack of words there, but I was just feeling absolutely terrible. Sat down. Everyone there was like very kind and like just wanted me to continue. They like helped me like get my nausea under control because I felt like I wanted to throw up as well from all the coughing. At this point too, it was very dusty as well, so the coughing got even worse with all the dust.
Bet it did.
So I spent about 20 minutes at El Diablo before the 2-mile hike up to Michigan Bluff, where I saw Crew 2. And I sit down in the chair at Michigan Bluff, and they pour water on me, and it pools in the chair and lights up my ass, my thighs, my loins. I realize at that point I am severely chafed. in my entire loin area. It is, it is all in, it's everywhere.
Oh my God. You should have changed your shorts there.
I
They had
know.
shorts.
I know. I really.
Or at Forest Hill.
I know. I
Whatever.
I'm never not wearing spandex again. That's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Never again. That it was so painful. So, after that, they encouraged me to keep going. Obviously I'm still interested in, like, I'm not ever considering DNFing. Like, I haven't ever considered DNFing. Maybe a little bit at Robinson, but I was like, I need to give it another good try. So I get to Forest Hill. Rascal meets me with some nut butter. I scoop some nut butter into my loins. I hydrate a little bit.
We make like a body circle around you.
Yeah.
While you nut butter up.
Yeah. What was Forest Hill like?
It was fine. Oh, it was actually way better than I was anticipating because you were like in such higher spirits than when I had seen you at Robinson, and just seemed to be like in a way better place. You were like, I don't want ice. I don't want cold water. Get that away from me.
Because it was burning my asshole.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think we all thought you were like, I'm not hot, don't give it to me.
Well, I wasn't hot. I didn't need all the ice, but also the water was too much. It was burning my loins.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So Forest Hill was good. Yeah.
Yeah. Made a human shield to apply the nut butter in the loins.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I see my friend Rachel, and I'm like, Rachel Ettricken, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember saying this to her, and I look back and I'm like, that was such a dumb thing to say, but I'm like, oh, I'm feeling fine. Who DNFs Western states? Ugh. Foreshadowing. So I'm running really well for about 3 to 4 miles after Forest Hill, and I'm running.
You had picked up Robin. You had a pacer now.
Yeah, Robin was pacing me, and we were running really well, even though my cough was still present and cough out of both ends. Like, I would stop, I would say every 4 minutes. You can ask Robin, but stopped every 4 minutes to like keel over so I could like relieve the pressure in my gut, if you know what I mean.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's
while
frequent.
Pulling my pants down just because it was, I didn't want an accident to happen, because I've already, TMI, but I've had accidents happen in this race already. I've already fully used the bathroom in my pants both ways.
Oh, yeah.
And so I get to the first Cal 1, and I get some nut butter there, apply it.
Great.
Feel
Lube
good.
up.
Me and Robin are continuing, and it just like hits me. I am feeling, again, bad, terrible, coughing, just sinus, everything, mucus, coughing out of the butt and the mouth. And we get to Cal 2, and I'm just like, I have to lay down. I have to lay down. And so I lay down. The medical team there was really great. I honestly wish I stayed there, because there's like a lot more medical supplies there and like a doctor. And they were like really nice. And the lady, the medic there, she was like, so I'm going to help you, and then you're going to follow me back on Instagram.
Oh my God. That's incredible.
It was so funny. So essentially they got me back up. At this point, Robin and I were getting a little worried.
You stayed there for a while.
Cal,
right?
Yeah, Cal 2, I stayed there for about an hour. I fell asleep, and they were just trying to feed me, and I was like, I can't go on. Like, I feel like this is the lowest I've ever felt in any race. It's just like, I can't go on. And everyone at the aid station is like, well, you have to get to the river if you want to get out sooner, because we can't take you out until around 3 a.m. And so I was like, okay. So they actually changed my shirt. I get a cotton shirt, and I start continuing down the trail to Cal 3. And it's about 2 miles to Cal 3. Somebody told me in all it was 5 miles to the river. So I'm like, okay, we'll get to Cal 3 and then we'll continue on to the river where I can get picked up so I can DNF. At this point, I'm not thinking about DNFing Western. I'm not thinking about what that looks like. I'm just thinking about my health because honestly, truly, I felt like my body was in complete shutdown. I was walking down the hill to Cal 3. I had hiked my shorts up like a bikini brief, and I had taken my shirt off because I was so hot. And I hiked my shorts up because of the chafe, and I was walking like a cowboy. And the entire time I am like, just like every 4 minutes, just stopping to like use the bathroom and coughing and just feeling absolutely terrible. I'm going so slow, and just feeling so demoralized. And people are like passing me and I'm trying to hide my face because a couple people before they were like, "Oh, Tara, is that you?" And they're like asking how I was doing. I'm in the lowest spot I've ever been. And there's these people that I've never met before. And this is the first time, this is the first impression. And I'm just like in the lowest spot. And I get to Cal 3. And shortly before Cal 3, actually, I feel my breathing. It's actually getting like harder to breathe. And that worries me. So I get to Cal 3. I'm like, Robin, I have to sit down again before we go on to the river. So I sit down and then I'm like, no, I need to lay down. So I go to the bed and I lay down the cot and I lay there and like breathing gets a lot harder. And I look at Robin. I'm like, Robin, we have to go to the hospital. We have to leave now. We have to go right now. My body was shutting down. And Robin leaves to talk to the aid station captain. And there's a medic there. He was like, he was a volunteer, but he was like, luckily he was also a medic. He wasn't there I don't think he was there for like medic duties, but he was there like in assistance. And he was just standing there watching me. A very like low key guy. And I like look at him and I like sit up a little bit and I'm like, I'm dying. Cause all of a sudden I was like in my head, I'm thinking, I can't breathe. My lungs are filling up with fluid. I'm going to die here. I was looking at the trees. I'm like, these are the last sights I'm going to see. I'm literally going to die here. And I start hyperventilating. I feel the adrenaline like tingling through my body, through my fingertips. And I sit up and I'm like, okay, this could be a panic attack or this could be death. Either way, I have to breathe. So I sit up on the side of the cot and I start to deep breathe and like hold my face in my hands. And the crew, the aid station captain and Robin come back over and he's like, "Hey, how you doing? My name's I forget his name. My name's blah blah blah. How you doing?" And I'm like, I can't talk because I'm mid panic attack. And he's like, "All right, I'll check on you in a little bit." And so Robin sits next to me and she's just like holding me. And she says she feels me quivering. Like it's not like I'm shaking, but like my insides, she could feel me like quivering. And I look at her. She says I look at her for like a straight minute with my eyes wide open. And I'm just like staring at her. And like very softly, I say, "I scared myself." And I keep saying that. She's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "I scared myself." Because I also was losing my voice too. And so Robin's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I told myself I was going to die." And turns out it was a panic attack.
Thank God.
Yeah, I didn't die.
Close, truly a close call.
Yeah. So at this point, it was like very jittery and adrenaline. I was like so nervous to get back on the trail and have a panic attack again because I was like, I didn't know if you could die from panic attacks, but you can't. I looked it up on Google. You cannot die from panic attacks. So next time I can keep going. But it was like, at that point, I was like, my body is fully shut down. Like everything has gone wrong today and I cannot continue. I think it was another 34-ish miles. But me and Robin essentially just stayed there at the aid station until they closed it down at 3 or 4 a.m. And then they drove us to a hotel, and that was it. I DNF'd Western states, and I can't believe that's my story. I told myself I would never DNF again after Javelina, and here I am. But it happens. I run a DNF podcast, and this kind of thing happens. And I think it's just it's really hard to come to terms with. Sorry, this was such a serious episode, but I don't know how to make sense of a DNF, especially on this magnitude. How horrible it went, how terrible I felt, and how it was on the biggest stage in ultra running, at least 100-mile races. So, Arlee, I have a question for you. Well, actually, do you have any like thoughts on like that last part of the story before we get into like what we could do better?
But I mean, it's such a scary time. That's so scary. Mm-hmm. And you know, like as crew, like we were at Green Gate and had heard from Robin, like, okay, we're at Cal 2 and we're leaving Cal 2, Tara took a nap. And I said to Reese, I said, that's really strange that she took a nap. Like, it's not that late. Like, it just got dark. That's like a really strange thing for her to do. Like, I just want to like name that is not normal, you know? And then, you know, we heard you were at Cal 3 and DNFing, so we left Green Gate. But that's beside the point, kind of, you know, that just sounds like such a scary place to be in at Cal 3. And, you know, a really, really uncomfortable place that you were in for so much of the race.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, Arlee, what do you think I could have done better to not DNF?
Girl, I don't know. I feel like something that's come up in so many of our stories is that like a lot of times there isn't like one thing that like would have changed the outcome of somebody's story, or at least not something that like you're in control of at the time. Because like for you, it's like, I don't know, don't be sick. But like that's not like you weren't in control of that. You were trying your darndest not to be sick. And it's just like one of those things, right? And it like sucks so big and it sucks so hard. But also like, I don't think you could have done anything different.
Thanks. I think like if I want people to take anything from this, I want them to take like when you're traveling and around a lot of people, like before a race, a big race, wear a mask, wash your hands a lot, and also take care of yourself. Make sure you're sleeping a lot, because that helps. Like, I mean, I wasn't sleeping that well. I was a little stressed out before the race, and I could easily see how like coming in contact with like a cold, some sort of virus or whatever, and how easily that would have manifested. So just take care of yourself better before the race, sleep a lot more, try to like not procrastinate all the things you need to do before a race so you can actually rest, and wash your hands a lot and give yourself grace too. Because I mean, you can start a race and that's great. But also like if you need to do a did not start because you're sick, that's totally fine. That's totally okay.
Totally fine. Like we're all human, and like the best we can do is take care of ourselves and each other. And like anything else is just such a total bonus, you know?
Yeah. Oh man, what a story. That was a little heavy, wasn't it?
It was a great story.
Oh, thanks.
Oh my gosh, you did a great job telling it. It's fantastic.
It almost doesn't really feel like my reality. Like it almost feels like a dream still, honestly. Feels like a dream.
Yeah.
Probably because I air super, honestly.
Sounds like the good stuff. I mean, how are you feeling now? Are you like not sick anymore, or what's up?
I'm still recovering. I still have a cough. It's a lot better. It's so much better. But I still have a cough. I am on the Hard Rock wait list. I am number 1 on the Hard Rock wait list, and I have people confidently telling me I'm going to get in. So I guess I'm going to be doing Hard Rock on Friday. It's Monday. So maybe. So hopefully my body, I did 73 miles on the Western States course. Hopefully my body is recovered enough for Hard Rock.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But remember all that grace that you're supposed to have for yourself?
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, don't forget that on the packing list.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll write that one down.
Yeah, write it there. Yeah.
Already taking my own advice. All right, Arlee. So how can we follow you on Instagrams?
You can find me at a.hisk on Instagram. I'm there doing stuff.
And what's our
posting pics?
What's our
our account is at DNF.diaries on Instagram. You can find us there, posting about episodes.
Yeah. And you can find me on Instagram too, Tara.Dower. I need you guys to submit some 5-star reviews so we can read them aloud. There are some, but they're like from earlier in the year. So I'm going to need some updated 5-star reviews. If you do feel like giving us a 5-star review, that'd be incredible so we can read it online.
Yeah, for a 5-star podcast.
Yeah, give us a 5-star review. Just saying. I thought we were best friends. I guess not.
Thought so.
Cool. Great.
We'll
Arlee.
See. All right. Tara.
Well, this was great. And I'm glad we could go through this together. It was a good post-mortem, literally.
Yeah. Always is.
See ya.
All right. See you later.